The new DJI Action 6 is here. Exciting news. And today I'm going to give it a review, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and if I think you, with your hard-earned cash, should go out and buy one. Now, before we begin really quickly, I think it's worth mentioning that DJI has not sent me this camera and they have not paid me. This is not sponsored. I went out and bought this camera with my own money. They have no idea I'm making this video or have any idea of who I am. I think, probably. I have a funny feeling that politics might be at play there. I'm not really sure.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
So let's get this thing set up on my helmet and we're gonna go and give it a test. It's nighttime right now, which is when I shoot most of my videos for some reason, and I've heard that a lot of the upgrades to the 6 are related to low light footage, which I'm excited to test. It's really simple to set up. This is DJI's new mount system, and I just clip it on, I guess. I need to hear 2 clicks. I heard 1 click. I really hope that's on there. I don't know. If this falls off my face while I'm riding, I'll be quite upset. Honestly, mounting this is a little too easy. Like, I almost don't trust this mount at all. It doesn't feel secure. Like, it probably is, but there's nothing that tells me for sure that this is clipped on. Yeah, I don't know about that one, but we'll have to trust that that's attached. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, and this is what it looks like on super wide angle in HD, shooting at 24 frames a second. I have changed nothing in the settings. This is exactly what it'll look like right out of the box. And I gotta say, it does have a pretty wide field of view. It's kind of cool. Don't know about this camera angle though, like if I just start walking around. But you know, that's one of the advantages to having an action camera, is that you can have all kinds of really weird angles, you know, because they're so small. Okay, so why DJI? Well, there's a few reasons, and it has to do with their business practices. One of them is their ecosystem that they track you in. You see, I already own a DJI Pocket 3, which means I have one of these, a DJI Mic 2, which automatically connects to this camera completely wirelessly. And I just turn it on and it connects. Let's do that now so you can have a listen. So this is the Action 6 with the DJI Mic 2 connected, and you can kind of see what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to do this whole Apple thing where if you have an iPhone, then you're probably gonna get the AirPods, which means you're probably gonna get an Apple Watch, which probably means you're gonna get a MacBook. And then suddenly, you're stuck in Apple's ecosystem, and DJI is doing the same thing, and it's working, you know? It's the big reason why I bought this camera, because I already have the microphones. And with motovlogging, I don't have to plug in a microphone with wires. That's huge for me. It's been an issue for years with motovlogging. It just means that I can tuck this microphone into my helmet, and there's my audio. Now, I would recommend using the Mic 3s or the Mic Mini, because they're way smaller than this and way easier to tuck into your helmet or wherever you might be. This microphone is a bit big, and so I have a kind of an issue fitting it inside my helmet. Also, cannot forget to pack these. These are my favorite Korean instant noodles, and I'm bringing them for my friends to try. Just about every other action camera I've had in the past has broken. I had a GoPro 8, which I lent to a friend. He went into the ocean with that camera and it broke, probably not the camera's fault. I had an Insta360 1R, which is kind of cool. It's modular, but it didn't break, it just sucks. And so I got the 6 because I need a camera that is durable. I need a camera that is easy to use, that is compatible with my microphones. Like I said earlier, because I shoot so many of my videos at nighttime, I need something that is good at low light, and the Action 6 ticked all those boxes for me. All right, let's party. Let's not party, I forgot my gloves. God damn it. Okay, gloves acquired, party started again. Okay, so this Action 6 has a 1/1.1 inch sensor. What does that mean? I have no fucking idea. What I do know is that that is a slightly larger sensor size than the Action 5, which should mean better low light performance, which is pretty cool considering it's kind of hard to get an action camera with good low light performance because their sensors are so small. But you guys can let me know, you can see how this looks. God damn, the police are probably gonna stop me for having an exhaust that's too loud. Oh no. In fact, I might just go the other way. Why are the police here? Let's go another way. I don't feel like dealing with the police right now. Okay, so let these ladies cross. Go right on ahead, girls. Also helping with low light performance is the variable aperture, which is never seen before inside of an action camera. And it's got an f-stop of 2.0, which is pretty cool for an action camera. The problem is the only way to access that is by using super night mode, which I have on now. I usually don't like using super night modes or, extra modes that help in low light conditions, because typically all they do is just blast the ISO into the stratosphere, increasing the digital noise, which I don't really like. But what's really cool about the Action 6 is that it actually allows you to hit that 2.0 aperture that further boosts low light capabilities, and I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, this is what super night mode looks like, and if it looks half decent, then this is probably what I'll be filming on a lot of the time. Another thing to mention about this sensor that I think just about every other reviewer has mentioned by now, but I think it's worth pointing out, is the square sensor that we have in this camera now, which is also a first for an action camera, which is great. It's the same tech that's in the iPhone 17 front-facing camera. It means that this sensor can shoot videos in a square, which means later on in post you can crop it for vertical video or horizontal video. So you can upload the same video to YouTube horizontally or to, I don't know, TikTok or Instagram or something vertically. I never do that, so I don't need this capability. And honestly, I feel like I should have gone with the Action 5 Pro. I think probably would have suited my needs just fine, but I wanted to make this review, so I picked up the 6. So if that's something that you need, that's a must for you if you're uploading to multiple platforms and some of them use horizontal video and some of them use vertical video, then having this square sensor I think is a must have, because I know people are going to ask, if I already have the Action 4 or I have the Action 5, is the Action 6 worth upgrading to? And I will tell you right now, no, I don't think that it is, unless you need the square sensor and you need your camera to shoot both vertical and horizontal video. The Action 4 and the Action 5 have perfectly fine video quality from at least what I've seen on the internet. Yes, the low light capability on the Action 6 should be better. I don't know, you guys can tell me, you're looking at it right now. However, I don't think it's going to be so much better that you need to upgrade if you have the 5 and maybe even the 4. If you have a really old action camera like I had, then yeah, sure, upgrade. I think camera tech, especially in action cameras, has come a pretty long way, and they look really nice now. All right, now I've got you guys on the handlebars with sport mode on, which I don't know if that's rock steady or what it is, but I need it because you guys are attached to the handlebars, and so I imagine you'll be vibrating around like crazy, especially at higher speeds like this. I'm going about 90 kilometers an hour. I'm still getting past even though I'm going this fast. Okay, this guy's just driving at the exact same, what does he want? Just rolled down the window and said something to me. So one thing I am noticing that I do really like is the front-facing screen and the rear-facing screen are both OLED panels, and they're really bright. I think they're the exact same panel that's on the Action 5, so it's not an upgrade if you have the 5, but for me, I didn't have a DJI action camera before this. I really like it. It's really important. It means that I can actually see what the camera is doing, so I really like that. Some other things that I really like about this camera, just straight out of the box, is the fact that it has a 50 gigabyte, oh my god, my handlebar mount's coming off, that's not good. It's got a 50 gigabyte internal storage, which I think is fantastic. So that means if you forget your SD card, which if I'm honest, I do way more often than I'd like to admit, then it's no problem. Then you just record into the internal hard drive, which is amazing. I think the materials they use to make this camera seem to be of somewhat high quality, which is impressive. You know, there was a time in the not too distant past where Chinese products were considered pretty low quality, but now lately, Chinese products are not that bad in quality, and they're a lot cheaper than, you know, an equivalent from somewhere else. And it's becoming more and more difficult for international companies to compete with Chinese companies like DJI because they offer really good products at way better prices. And that's a good or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. We'll get into some of the things I don't like about this camera near the end of the video. One other thing I think is pretty cool, and apparently this is new new for the Action 6, and DJI has upgraded it, is the quick mount system. Apparently, I can just take you off, turn you around, and now you're facing the front of my bike. So that's kind of cool. You can just like spin the camera around, and now you can see other stuff, which is kind of fun. It actually kind of blows my mind that the 5 quick mount system couldn't do that before. I'm not sure how often I'll use this, but I guess it makes it easier than having to unscrew the screw and then turn the whole friggin' setup around. Now I can just unclip you and clip you onto the front. That's kind of fun. And I gotta say, just looking at the screen, because right now as we're riding around, I mean, it's dark out right now. It's like, I don't know, 11:30 at night. And it's dark. You know, the only things I can see with my eyes are the street lights and all of the advertising lights that Taiwanese streets are so famous for. But as I'm looking at the DJI screen, you guys can see way more. It's like the camera is making the environment way brighter than it is in reality. And I think that's helped. That's due to the aperture being set to 2 because we're using super night mode. And I think it is blasting the ISO up really high. So you can actually see more than I can with my own eyes, which is kind of crazy. Okay, there we go. I just had to pull over for a second to figure out where Rocksteady was, which is DJI's image stabilization, and it will do it with super night mode on. It just crops in a whole bunch in order to get that stabilization. So this is what it looks like. This road's pretty smooth, but again, being attached to the handlebars is going to make it jump around a whole bunch. But it's good that they have that option. One thing I am noticing now that I can actually see the camera screen because you guys are on my handlebars is that I have this microphone transmitter gain dropped all the way down to -12, which is the lowest it will go. And yet I am peaking like crazy, and I'm not yelling. I'm talking very softly, but this microphone, it is right up against my face. So, you know, it is going to be loud, which is why I turned down the gain so low to all the way to the bottom. It's nice to have that, but the fact that I'm still getting peaking, that's kind of a negative, to be honest. I kind of do wish that that gain would go down even further. -12 doesn't seem like it's enough for moto vlogging. All right, and we are here. That's so cool. It's so easy to like get you guys off this mount, but now I don't want to leave it outside. I want to take it with me, so I am going to have to unscrew it. So it's not actually that easy. So yeah, that's nighttime footage with the Action 6. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about the way it looks. All right, so we're out of the ultra wide lens, and now we're using just like the regular, whatever DJI considers standard lens mode, where it's not gonna like warp the edges of the screen. At least it shouldn't. And I'm gonna make these Korean noodles for my Taiwanese friend to try. Should be really good. One other thing I'm noticing that I really like about this camera is it boots so fast. Where are their eggs? Oh, they're up there. Didn't even see these. My Pocket 3 takes forever to boot up, and it's a huge problem because sometimes when you're trying to capture something that's going by really quickly, like maybe you see a really nice car or something and it's driving by, your camera, if it boots really slowly, ends up missing all of the action. 5.5 minutes for a soft-boiled egg. In goes the noodles. Another thing this camera would be great for is like cooking POV videos, which I used to do with my GoPro. Just have it attached to my hat, and then it would be looking at whatever I was doing. This camera would be great for that, you know, especially in my old kitchen, which did not have the best lighting ever. You know, not everyone's kitchen has really good lighting. So a camera that specializes in low light, I shouldn't say it specializes for an action camera. I think that's pretty valuable. One advantage that DJI has over their competitor Insta360 is that you don't have to use Insta360's stupid app in order to upload footage into your computer. I don't find the Insta360 app to be actually a bad app. I just find it an extra step and kind of an annoyance, and just adds more time to my work. So that might not be an advantage to this camera in particular, but definitely an advantage to DJI products as a whole. Also lately, Taiwanese eggs have been caught with high levels of pesticides, and I did wash these before sticking them in here, but I have a funny feeling when I get yelled at by a bunch of Taiwanese people. In goes the packet of spicy sauce. Okay, spoiler alert, 5.5 minutes was not nearly enough time for those eggs to cook. Didn't even cook the egg white, so I gotta cook new eggs. Almost gave my friend salmonella noodles. Ow! Amy, wake up!
哇，
好吃吗？
好吃。
What do you think, Dave? Okay, here we are with the camera at natural wide setting with no microphone. I just want to test the wind noise capabilities of this camera. We're shooting in regular daylight to see what that looks like. And this was the part I was going to say, that if you were planning on using the Action 6 as a daily vlogging device, then you should just get the DJI Pocket 3, because that camera is purpose built for this exact thing. But now that I'm using it and I've got it on the selfie stick, I kind of really like this. I mean, it's so small and tiny and easy to use that I just set it up, point it, and shoot it. No, it's not going to give you that nice fancy blurry background that the Pocket 3 will give you, but I mean, whatever. The Pocket 3 is sort of in a stick shape, and so when you put it on a selfie stick, it makes like a 90-degree angle, and the camera's always wanted to do this, you know, shaking back and forth on the selfie stick. So I'm finding this really easy to use. I think it's great. So I would actually say, yeah, if you want to use this as a daily vlogging camera, go for it. It's not a bad option at all, especially because you can also take it on your snowboarding trip or your skiing trip or surfing trip or motorcycles, but whatever, like, 'cause it's not going to break. The Pocket 3, because it's sitting on a gimbal, might break, and I'm always worried about breaking it, but I'm not worried about breaking this. It's an action camera. Sometimes with the Pocket 3, I want to point my camera and shoot at something. I look down at my screen and the gimbal's pointed somewhere out in the great blue yonder, and I have no idea what it's trying to shoot. But this is way more easy. It's a pretty noisy background. I'm gonna go get my coffee, and then we'll talk about some of the things that I don't really like about the Action 6.
Okay, so overall I'm quite happy with this camera actually, and there's not a whole lot that I dislike about it, and they're all quite minor except for the last thing. The first thing is the power button on the side of the camera is kind of hard to press, and so I find when I'm trying to turn it off, I end up pressing it once and it activates its secondary function, which is to switch between video and photo mode, and I find that kind of annoying. I'm just like trying to suffocate it with a pillow, like turn off. And I even found that when I had this on my motorcycle helmet on the chin, I had to hold it with 2 hands just to get it to turn off. Kind of annoying. The other thing is that there are doors on either side of the camera to cover the USB port and another door to cover the battery and the SD card, and you kind of have to like slide the button this way and then also simultaneously move it up. I don't know, I think I'll get used to it, but it's just something that's not all that intuitive when you first try to use it. There's also no quarter screw mount at the bottom of the camera. It's just a flat bottom. You kind of have to use their quick release system, which is fine. I do just wish it had that option. It's just easier to mount it to other things, but it would have been nice for DJI to include one. The quick mount system itself is not all that confidence inspiring. Like, I keep having it to where only one is clipped on, and if I didn't check, there would have been a few times while I was filming this thing where it would have just had one clip secured. It's just one of those things where you're gonna have to double check before you go and film. You can't just slap it on like that. You do have to check. It's not, I don't know, it just doesn't really grab on for me. I also wish DJI included some kind of lens cap or cover to go over the lens to protect it, because I do plan on just kind of throwing this on my bag when I'm traveling, and I'm not going to want to do that if I'm worried about scratching the glass, and I guess I'm just going to have to cover it with like an old sock or something to protect it. I know that DJI sells glass. You can just twist this off and then twist a new one back on, but I would rather not scratch it to begin with. Also, with these microphones, the Mic 2s, I love that I can just connect to this wirelessly. It makes my life a million times easier. However, it doesn't just seamlessly switch between my Pocket 3, which I'm filming on now, and the Action 6. I have to like repair the device to the camera that I'm using, which is not a huge deal. It's just an extra little step and something you have to keep in mind so you don't forget. I do kind of wish that whatever camera was on, the mic would just automatically pair to it, but I actually have to repair the microphone to whatever camera that I'm using. Okay, and the final thing, before you use this camera, and I think any DJI camera, because I had to do the same thing with my Pocket 3, you have to register it on DJI's Nemo app, which is a fine app. I just don't want to have to register my product before I use it. I paid for it. Just let me use the device. And you have to go through a long list of fine print and agree to stuff, and it's like, I don't know what that is. Did I just sell my organs to China? Am I Chinese now? Like, why do I have to do that? I hate that. I don't trust these companies with all of this information, and you're forced to do it. You have to log in, register your thing, and then agree to all these terms and conditions, and I just don't know what that does for privacy. And so if you're someone who's concerned with privacy, especially with selling data to a country country like China might not be the best option, but I find that's the biggest thing. That's my biggest negative of this camera and any DJI camera, is that right there. Activating the device before you use it is a whole lot of bullshit, in my opinion. Didn't want to just make this video of listing off the specs off the box for you guys, because DJI did send post-production units of these to YouTubers around the world so they can get their reviews out first, which means I don't really trust those reviews. I mean, in DJI's defense, it did seem like they allowed the YouTubers to express their positive and negative thoughts of this camera, which is, you know, bold, give credit where credit is due. But like I said, this is not a sponsor. DJI did not send me this product. It's just my own review. I paid for it with my own money. Yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'll get my money worth. I'm gonna use it a lot for moto vlogs. And so, I don't know, I think, yeah, if you're looking for an action camera, or maybe you have one that's kind of old, you know, more than 4 or 5 years old, you're looking to upgrade, pick one of these up. They're pretty great. Or if you don't need that square sensor, save your money and get the Action 5. It's still a mighty fine camera. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan on picking one up. And yeah, stay positive. Keep your stick on the ice, and I'll catch you guys next week for another video. I probably should have shut that window. I'm on the 19th floor and those garbage trucks are just blaring their rock and roll music down there.